Pretrial hearings are about to get underway for murder suspect Luigi Mangione. Luigi Mangione has pleaded not guilty to both state and federal charges for the murder of UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Today's hearing is on the state charges. CBS News Crime and Public Safety Unit producer Anna Schechter is here to talk more about this. Good to see you, Anna.
Hey, good
So break down today's court hearing. What's happening today?
Well, this is a big day because we are going to hear if key evidence is going to be admissible at the trial. That includes the backpack that he had on him when he was found in that McDonald's in Pennsylvania. Guess what was inside? A notebook where he was writing about how his animosity towards the healthcare and the insurance industry. Also, there was that ghost gun in that backpack. Don't forget that. Also, his lawyers are saying that police immediately started questioning him, didn't read him his Miranda rights right away. So they're saying anything he said in those first 20 minutes, and they're basing that on the body cam video, that you don't hear them reading those Miranda rights. None of that should be admissible. So we will expect to hear Judge Caro rule on that in the coming days.
Yeah, that is kind of surprising that once you slap the handcuffs on a suspect that you would not read them the Miranda rights. I mean, generally, that is the procedure, if I'm not mistaken.
That is the procedure, but just let's go back to that moment in time. There was a massive multi-state manhunt going on, and I think the police were probably so shocked. This tip had been called in, and they're thinking, oh my God, we might have the guy that the whole world is looking for. They were young, they were new to the force, and so they probably just got to questioning him, forgot to do that. And that could be a problem for prosecutors. So it remains to be seen what the judge says. There's other evidence. Remember, there's the DNA on the Starbucks cup that was thrown away near the scene of the crime. But this evidence, what he was saying, his demeanor when he was acting kind of nervous, all of that is really key evidence for prosecutors.
So is Luigi Mangione's defense is that it wasn't him, he didn't do it?
He has pleaded not guilty. We've all seen that video. We've seen the videos of a man riding his bike through Manhattan. Mm-hmm. Then we learned he got on a bus heading out to Pennsylvania, but he's pleading not guilty to all the charges.
Wow. All right. We'll see what happens today in court. Anna Schechter, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
So today, Mangione's attorney is calling into question the use of evidence from Mangione's interaction with the Pennsylvania police officers who caught and cuffed him. Now, this is the scene where that arrest happened, a Pennsylvania McDonald's 230 miles outside of that crime scene. Live now to CBS News legal reporter Katrina Kaufman in New York. So, Katrina, what have you heard in the courtroom so far today?
Reed, it's almost like a mini trial that we're seeing in there. They're calling witnesses for these suppression hearings related to the evidence and statements that Luigi Mangione's defense attorneys do not want to come in if this goes to trial. So far, we've heard from someone from the NYPD, as well as a man who was the installation supervisor of the security cameras at that McDonald's where Luigi Mangione was arrested. We've seen all of the images that were published of the suspect who they believe killed Brian Thompson, that UnitedHealthcare CEO, as well as the video of that shooting. But perhaps the most striking thing that we heard was a 911 call. That came from the manager at the McDonald's, and her conversation with the dispatcher was very interesting to hear, Reed. She called and said that at least 6 customers had walked up to her in the store and said that they were suspicious of a guy who was in there. He was sitting at a table. They said to her, he looks like the CEO shooter from New York. It's also notable that Luigi Mangione's defense attorneys did object to this. The judge said that he's allowing it in for this hearing, but it will still be in question if they go to trial, if they'll let this play. But the manager on the phone is saying that she told the customers, I don't know what to do here, guys. She describes the person who's sitting at the table. She says he's mid-height, mid-weight. He's wearing a hoodie. He's wearing a blue medical mask, and he's wearing a beanie on his head. So we hear all of this playing out. The dispatcher ultimately tells her that an officer's on the way and to keep an eye on him. And in this footage we saw too, we see all of these police officers come into that McDonald's. We see the person sitting at the table in the back, sort of how he's cornered in near a restroom. So it's been very interesting to see all of this imagery play out.
Well, you say it's almost like a mini trial there, so you've had proximity to Luigi Mangione. Any reaction from him as he sits there and listens to all of this evidence?
Yeah, that's right. I'm looking right at him during all of this. You know, he walked in today, he's wearing a dark gray suit, a check shirt, but he seems a lot more serious than when I've seen him in the past. His hair is short, he looks paler, he is watching intently as all of this goes on. His lawyer specifically asked that his hands be unshackled so that he could take notes, and they did allow that, so he's taking a lot of notes, he's talking to his attorneys, he's looking very pensively at these videos and these images as they're playing on the screen, sort of rubbing his hair, touching his face. So he seems very serious today, especially compared to when I've seen him in the past, Reed.
And we're talking about the state case. Of course, we know the federal case could bring the death penalty. Are you seeing any of Mangione's family or friends there in the courtroom?
You know, I'm not sure if any of his family or friends are there. There are a number of people from the public, but that too is much smaller than in the past. There's about 3 rows of people from the public, mostly women again. Some of them are wearing shirts with writing on them. One of them said, "Justice is not a spectacle." Another one said, "Without a warrant, it's not a search, it's a violation." A third one said that there's 11 minutes of missing body camera. So he's still getting a lot of attention. We know that his defense fund has received a lot of money, but there is a smaller showing today than we've seen in the past.
All this playing out while the family of Brian Thompson goes into another holiday without their husband and father. Thank you so much, Katrina Kaufman. We appreciate it.